what I didn't realize is that I actually had the skills that were needed to be an entrepreneur, and that was just magnified by my whole experience as being a mother.
If a woman who becomes a mother chooses to create her own business, I guess it's time we change those narratives, because the ability to raise the next generation and build your own company needs to be celebrated as a legitimate career and lifestyle choice.
Welcome to Mangtas Nation Season 2. This season is all about tech of the future. We'll be sharing real-world experiences and featuring astounding guests to help guide you in your tech journey. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
The show starts right now.
Hello, everyone. This is Jackie Demenk together with Wow to Dabare, and welcome to the Mangtas Nation podcast, where we bring you the most inspiring and insightful tech stories from around the world. Now, in celebration of Mother's Day, we're thrilled to have two exceptional moms joining us today. Now, our first guest is a visionary in community building with technological backing. She's a skilled mother, founder, who has won the Female Entrepreneur of the Year APAC Award in 2021. Her diverse skill set in technical software development and community building makes her an inspiration for aspiring entrepreneurs, especially the moms, and tech enthusiasts, and those interested in community building. Listeners, please welcome the founder of Meetmumz, Ekta Tejwani.
Thank you so much, Jackie and Mothe. Such a pleasure to be here and share this space with you, especially on the occasion of International Mother's Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Ekta. But that's not all. Today, we have another very special guest who has dedicated her career to bringing stories to life. She is a 10-year veteran of broadcast production and has become skilled in content teams, client management, and the oversight of multiple productions. She's also, of course, a mother founder who excels in crafting captivating narratives that inspire people to see the world in new and exciting ways. Listeners, please join us too in welcoming the founder of Campfire Crates, Camille Faylona. Hey Camille, welcome to the show too.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. This is super exciting.
Now, before anything else, we would just like to wish both of you Happy Mother's Day, and especially to all the mothers out there.
Happy Mother's Day to you as well, Jackie.
Thank you. And of course, your wife as well, Walter. Happy Mother's Day. Now, let's just start by... I'm sure our listeners, and we have so much to talk about, and it seems so little time. But let's start with the very basic. And you both maybe starting, choose who will start. But can you tell us a bit about yourselves and your background, please?
Sure. So I'll start. I'll take the bait.
Sure,
So I've been in Singapore for the last 2 years, and before this I was in Hong Kong and moved in there as a trailing spouse. Had both my kids there as well as both my tech startups, launched in Hong Kong. And before this was all my education and my work experience back in India, working as a software programmer, like based on my education of being a Bachelor of Technology in Computer Science. My experiences in the programming languages, as well as like software development and database architecture and structures. And I've been in this space and in love with the space for almost 17 years now. So technology is something that calls to me, and I've always been very inspired by things that it can solve. So yeah, that's a bit about me. Yeah, over to you, Camille.
Okay, so like Ekta, I also live in Singapore. I've been here for the last 20 years. So before my pivot into entrepreneurship, I was working in the broadcasting industry So I was a writer, director, and producer for factual content. And I've worked with Discovery Channel, History Channel, Channel News Asia. And eventually I was an executive producer for National Geographic. So from there, I moved on to being a mother and then pivoted into being an entrepreneur.
Super. So, Ekta, you have a tech background, and Camille, you have more of a production background. But what brought the two of you together, in fact? Where did the crossroads, where did your crossroads come together?
Camille, you want to start there?
So I think, Ekta and I actually met each other when we were both living in Hong Kong. So we have kids who were about the same age, and we kind of were going around the same circles, and our kids were in the same school. And then we realized that both of us were also working on our own businesses. And we kind of, we were mixing together here and there. And then we moved to Singapore, where we were working on our individual businesses. And it seems like fate-wise,
what a nice coincidence.
Yeah, true. Fate-wise, there were some things that she needed to work on for her business and some things that I needed to work on for her business. And then we just kind of found that, okay, maybe there's something that we can work on together here. So I had come from a background where I built my business through an accelerator program called Founder Institute. So it was a pre-seed accelerator program where they were able to give me the basics of how to build my business. And in going through that program, I realized that this was really great in building that business, but it wasn't so great in helping me work out the balance that I needed in order to build a business while also catering to my first business, which is motherhood. I was coming from that background of, there weren't a lot of resources out there for women entrepreneurs, especially mother entrepreneurs, to be able to build their businesses and build their networks that work with the flexibility that we needed as mothers. And so that was kind of one of the reasons why I had reached out to Ekta and said, okay, maybe there's a way that we can work with your community and maybe with your knowledge as well in building your own startups and how we can cater to this community of mother entrepreneurs.
And I think it's so interesting to, when we actually met, because for the last 4 years, I was building Meetmumz, which was actually a networking-based community building platform through events and having the networks of mothers, whether these were mothers running their own small startups, offering their own services, or actually the users of those particular products and services. And it felt like while running through 4 years of this all alone, it is a lonely experience. And then moving countries. The space, and I myself went through an accelerator as well, and how as a growth-led startup accelerator, you realize that the pie is in a way a bit different. And the challenges and the solutions that we were actually looking for that catered to our particular audience, it just felt that, there's a set standard, a set notion of how things are supposed to look and feel. What does success mean? How does a startup need to be? What are the parameters you need to look at? Whereas businesses that were started by mothers or were catering to mothers, in a way needed some different definitions that would work, as Camille rightly said, in balancing the triad as we see us as the mother, the founder, and the self. So I guess as individuals, when mothers run businesses, the domains, the definitions are a little different than the set definitions we usually are set to, we are tuned in to, that's how a startup needs to look like. And I guess the similar vision, the similar purpose, and the similar need to create a space where these mothers are not just supported, these mothers are not just celebrated, but there is a talking point of changing narratives that led to the start of what we call as the Mothe Founder Movement. In a sense that if a woman who becomes a mother chooses to, step away from the work and creates her own business, whether it's a blog, whether it is a passion project, whether it is a side hustle, I guess it's time we change those narratives, because the ability to raise the next generation and build your own company, I guess, needs to be celebrated as a legitimate career and lifestyle choice. Right now, it's in a way also looked down upon at times, and I guess that is what we are looking to change.
Whoa, inspiring. Should we just mic drop and stop, Jackie?
No.
I would love to ask so many questions on everything you just said, including the definitions and how they differ, right? I'd love to really get to the bottom of that, right? The crux of what you're solving. But before we do that, I'm very interested to go a bit deeper into the origin story. And you mentioned you did another startup before that in Hong Kong, and Camille, you're also working on something. Could we go through that as well? Could we understand it a little bit, what that was all about and how that went?
Sure. Camille, you want to go ahead?
Sure. So my business is Campfire Crates, and we create multicultural content for kids who are growing up outside of their home countries. So the way this started was I was pregnant with my first child, and I'm Filipino. I'm married to an American, and at that time we were living in Hong Kong. So I knew that I was going to be raising him outside of the Philippines, and I wanted to make sure that he was going to grow up connected to his roots. So I went in search of resources. What are the books out there? What are the videos out there? And I realized there wasn't actually a lot of them out there, and not a lot of them were really great content, and they were all over the place. There was just not one central location for it. And I thought, well, I've had all of these years creating content. Why don't I give this a go? Why don't I give this a try and make it myself? And that was pretty much where the idea of Campfire Crates started. And when I first started, we were a very hands-on business. So we started our first product were subscription boxes, and we gave that a go. It was great. It was a box about Filipino Christmas, and we shipped like over 100 boxes all over the world. And then the year 2020 arrived. And we know what happened in 2020. It was the pandemic, and everything in terms of logistics of being able to ship around the world shut down or got very, very expensive. And I got to a point where I realized that this was not going to work out for somebody who was just doing all of this by myself. And that was when I had to pivot the business. And I realized that thankfully it was also happening at a time where Canva existed, and then Amazon existed, and I was able to take these tech solutions and pivot my content platform into creating self-published activity books. So we now produce activity books and are able to deliver it to Filipino communities all over the world in a way that had automated the two biggest problems that I had as a small business, which was logistics and production. So that's pretty much the origin story of Campfire Crates and where we are now. And
super. So on that topic, one thing just came to mind, Jackie. So there's a good friend we both have. Sorry, little side topic. Ramon Del Prado, together with his wife, they're building this fantastic set of cartoons called Miming and Friends. I don't know if you heard of them. So basically they're from our hometown, Dumaguete, and it's all about basically some characters and all very Pinoy, right? So it's you'll have like your Halo Halo, and you'll have your Pinoy songs, your abacadas and all that. You should check it out.
It's a YouTube channel.
It's a YouTube channel now, and we'll include it. He'll be happy we talked about him. You should check it out. It would have been great. Maybe for your kids as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I would love to. I mean, that's a great thing in the last 4 years too, and I think there's a lot more emphasis in for people to be able to produce content for their own cultures these days.
Fantastic. And well, just out of curiosity, Camille, having worked with big companies like the Discovery Channel or National Geographic, did it make coming up with content for your startup much easier, or was it still challenging, considering that it was another like industry, like the children's industry, as opposed to the travel sector? Or
I think the biggest challenge was working on a different format. So that was video, and you worked with teams. So when you create your content, you have your camera crew, you have your editing crew, and then you have a whole staff working together with you to create your vision. For this, it's pretty much all me. So I have to come up with the text, I have to come up with the visuals. So, I mean, I wouldn't say it was a challenge.
Partner up with Canva.
Yeah, well, thank you to Canva, who amazingly have incredible Philippine content on their site, which is amazing. So yeah, I think it was just learning the discipline of a different delivery platform for the content was the hardest. And one of my partners for content for Campfire Crates is a PhD in child development. So what we do, so he helped a lot in terms of, okay, it's not just about writing this, but writing it in a way that's also engaging for the kids.
Awesome. Now, Ekta, let's go to your story. When for Meetmumz.
Yeah.
How did that come to be?
So actually, it started off with, as I just said, my first startup called Lazy Suitcase, which was also a tech startup, wherein the algorithm allowed a person at a click of a button to create a day-by-day, hour-by-hour itinerary, as well as it would get like the recommendations of the restaurants around. And depending on how you're traveling as a family, as a couple with elderly parents, it could actually choose those locations. And the algorithm of it was designed by me, and part of it was also coded by me. And unfortunately, that business did close down in operations, but the
users were too lazy.
No, I guess we had good traction, I must say. It was a good experience. But for whatever reasons, the experience of creating customized solutions that you could understand and, by the surveys and the problems and the concerns of your actual customers, and the ability to use technology to work around your own customized solutions was such a big thrill that when it did close down, I was actually looking out and scouting for options, or what should I do next? Was it to get back to work? Was it to actually, do something else as well, explore more? And I did, try a couple of workshops, couple of, job profiles. And somewhere down the line is wherein at that point in time, I actually had my son, who was about a year old, and trying to figure out play dates for him in a country like Hong Kong, where, it's a melting pot of cultures. Everyone wants to meet each other. It somehow just was a bit difficult. And obviously, there are a lot of social groups. There were a lot of groups where you could reach out to. But the ability for me on one rainy day where I could not fix in anything, the ability to just use my phone, use technology, and find someone for my child to play with, where I find like-mindedness. It's close to my home. It's safe. It's secure. I don't have to do too much ice-breaking conversations. And it's more like you just match. I guess these were the thoughts.
Like Tinder for moms.
Like Tinder for moms. And that's exactly what I used initially as the description, to roll eyeballs. To create a safe, secure platform that would allow mothers, especially in the early years, to connect with each other. Because the social needs, it's like you have so many prenatal visits with the doctor, and then you give birth and you have one postnatal visit, and it's like, bye-bye, see you next time. The support that is needed after the delivery, after the postpartum phase, during the postpartum phase, even up till now, I guess that is so not looked upon. Of course, there is a need for the medical needs. Those are important. There is a need for the emotional needs. But there are also needs in terms of the social needs, because the moment as a mother you find like-mindedness in the connections you make, it kind of gives you the hope to survive the day. That, you could do it. And I think the use of technology, which, somehow I could never do anything else, but it has always been technology for me. The use of technology to create a solution that works for mothers and solves the problems of the mothers is what kind of created the start of Meetmumz. Because I come from a very big family, and living an expat life away from, your own family support, you are looking for friends like family, if you may say so. You are looking for trusted experts. You are looking for...
You're looking for a village for your kid.
Exactly. And I guess the challenges of motherhood and the challenges of entrepreneurship, like through the first segment, I guess they have such overlapping feels to it. But in my experience, Meetmumz started with the need of creating a social platform, an event-based platform where mothers could network. And as Camille said, 2020 happened, networking was a no-go, especially networking amongst young mothers was a no-go because of, safety and health reasons. Yeah. And that is the point in time when Meetmumz also was in a way going through a pivot as to what is the next step? What are the next things that we can focus on if it is not networking? We did move online, and then during the space we were actually also catering to a lot of mothers who were running their own businesses, or mothers or businesses who were catering to mothers. And creating that ecosystem and understanding the challenges and meeting Camille through this is wherein there was a deeper purpose to not just create a platform, but a space which allows, supports, and shines the light in a way on the journeys and, like you're sharing our spotlight right now, you're sharing our story now. And I believe there is so much strength in storytelling that the inspiration one can derive from the stories of so many mothers out there, from the inspiration and the learnings and the upskilling that one can derive, I guess it's a gold mine. And I guess that's where we realize that being vulnerable with what our challenges are, and the ability to create a space, a safe space for storytelling, kind of started building the pillars of the Mothe Founder Movement.
And that's the strength of communities, right? To find like-minded individuals, people who share the same thing, but in this particular community, it so happens to be mothers. And it takes a mother to know a mother what you're dealing with, and it's a great concept that for mothers you feel safe and comfortable sharing your story and not feel judged because you feel a bit tired or a bit weak, or you just have some milestone that you would like to share. But when it comes to, let's talk about your community that the two of you are creating. So let's tell our listeners, Ekta and Camille, a little bit more about that community and how they can be part of it.
Our community primarily, using our strengths that we have as individuals and as well as our experiences in running those businesses. Our focus in the community is to support entrepreneurial mothers, whether these are mothers who are at crossroads and thinking, should I start my own business? But I don't know where to start. I don't know where to get the support. I don't know. And only search engines or AI are the solutions these days for them. But also mothers who are in the early years of their businesses and are looking for connections and collaborations and hopefully sometime, growth-led as well. But primarily focusing on the needs of creating a space that allow these mothers from different walks of life, whether it is product-based businesses, service-based businesses, use of technology, or actually home-based businesses. We want to utilize our strengths in technology, in processes and structures to create a space that allows mothers to save time, to have that flexibility to create processes so they can actually spend time doing what they also most of the times love most, is like being with their kids. And I say most is because,
we have time to
have time to do that as well. And I think over the years, both Camille and I have so strongly come into the belief that, we have these strict roles that we have, and we want to create boundaries in these roles, whether we are working as a mother, whether we are working towards our businesses as a founder, or we are working on ourselves, which is also important. And women, when they become mothers, lose track of that self to, slow. It mostly becomes your mothering needs, your work needs, whether it's your business or whether it is, and in that process is you kind of keep stepping back on your self needs. And it is so important as women, as mothers, that we kind of create that balance in it. So for us, our primary goal in a community for mothers-based businesses are entrepreneurial mothers, as well as creating solutions or offering solutions, opportunities of connections, collaborations, and helping them grow through the worldwide community that we have. The ability to tap in and tap out and not feel the hustle that, oh my God, I'm going to miss it. Not feel the FOMO that, I'm going to fear of miss out, because there's anyways a lot of hustling happening. So what we are trying to create is a space that, yes, we do grow. And, that's what I think Camille would like to shine a light upon that, on, the narratives of what small businesses, that they don't have goals. And I would love for you to jump in, Camille.
So I think one of the things that we wanted to create in this community is a safe space. I think like a lot of I think entrepreneurs or women entrepreneurs, when they walk into a room of, say, investors, or even if it's just your friends and family, it's when you present your business, it's usually a business that is a gap that you have seen as a mother. And if they're not a mother, or they're not, in that space, they won't understand. So it was like, why are you creating Filipino content, right? If you're not a mother who's raising a child outside of the Philippines, or why are you doing something for infertility, or why are you building a business around breast pumps or things like that? So I think what we want to be able to do is bring that ecosystem of mothers who are building businesses for the gaps that they see in the market, for the mothers who would need that. So like, I think you mentioned it earlier on, is that it takes a mother to know a mother. And I think it takes a mother to see what you need. And for us, it's also building a space for mothers who may have had career breaks, who have had maybe moved away from that, and really having that self-esteem, that kind of like, do I still have what it takes to present myself into this kind of business in this society? Because I think there's a narrative around how when you're in this business space, when you're in this entrepreneurship space, you have to be like the sweatshirt, not sleeping for 3 days kind of personality. And as mothers, we're like, yes, we kind of walk around in athletic wear and not sleep for 3 days, but usually for a different reason. Building children versus building a business.
It's not for show.
No, exactly, right? But like you kind of have that lack of confidence. But so what we're hoping to do is that, look, we're a place where you can pursue your passion. It's okay for you to try. It's a place for you to grow yourself outside of the home.
Understood. And I do have some questions around, let's say, the business and how you execute on it, right? So, what is your secret sauce? What's your differentiator? Is it the community? Is there something beyond the community? Is there like some tech supporting it? Like, I would love to understand a little bit more about what sets you apart from other businesses that are attempting to do the same.
Well, thanks for asking that, Walter. I think that really helps us to highlight on what is it that we are looking to build on. Yes, there are many platforms that do support women in business or men in business, and also support a lot of female led businesses. Our focus through the Mothe Founder Movement in supporting the businesses is to utilize our technical knowledge and create technical solutions that not just help these mothers, put into their processes things that can help them save time, as I said earlier. Understanding the needs of these homegrown businesses and why they started. They did not start this business to spend 18 hours a day on the business. They started this business to get financial independence and the flexibility that they need. To ensure these two particular things, it's important that there is a way of creating not just connections, collaborations, but a way to create automations, a way to create using technology and the different tools that we have in the market, in a way, put into their own systems. So they lead a balance in life. So I guess when you say how different we are, yes, we work with connections. Yes, we provide collaborations like, all networking groups do. What we provide is a space where we understand the challenges as a mother, being in the same 2 feet, in the same 2 shoes, and create solutions that work for you as a mother. So our focus primarily is to, though we are an inclusive community, we do have members who are not mothers, but it's more about creating solutions that work for you. So I guess that's where we are.
Nice. And well, when it comes to, it's always interesting to hear about the early days of your startup. And you mentioned also earlier, Ekta, about the challenges, and I'm pretty sure they're different from the challenges of normal startup, or let's say the challenges that mothers face when launching startups. What do you think in particular? What would be those challenges, and especially for mothers, I'm sure they would like to know how you overcame them. Ekta or Camille can.
Well, I mean, I think we're still trying to overcome them, really. I think with anything, as it is with motherhood and entrepreneurship, it's all about solving problems. And, every day is a new problem for either motherhood or entrepreneurship with our own businesses. So I think, it's really having a very strong support system, and part of that is being part of that community. And I think from what we've built, it's been this really amazing pool of talent that not only is it about resources of what they're doing now, but it could also be resources for things that they used to do before they entered motherhood or before they entered entrepreneurship. So, we've got lots of people in our community who were in marketing previously, or in HR previously, or were lawyers previously. I guess they still are, but not practicing. But they have those those kinds of skills, backing them.
That has become their side hustle, and they're focused on.
Pretty much, yeah. So,
and I would like to add to that as well, is that because what happens is that across motherhood and entrepreneurship, there's always challenges, and life always throws a curveball towards you. But the ability and the excitement of overcoming those challenges, reaching a milestone, doing an achievement, whether it's motherhood or entrepreneurship. I guess that's what kind of keeps women going, because they see the work that they do, whether it's paid or unpaid, the time that they're investing and the energy that they're investing is actually creating a milestone, whether it's in the little one or whether it's in their business. So I guess the work that women do is definitely also a lot driven by the impact it creates. So I guess as small startups, big startups, growth-led, profit-led, whatever startups, I guess the impact that is created in the work that you do definitely drives the energy to wake up next morning, whether it's been a good day, bad day before, and keep going and, keep achieving to whatever your vision is.
Right. So knowing that you're helping others or either making a difference. Now, speaking of making a difference, in your opinion and in your experience, what do you think can companies, individual companies or startups do to make mothers feel more supported in the workforce, or to make things in the company more family friendly?
Well, I'm glad you asked this question, because through so many conversations it's happened, and through articles you read and see how the trends are going, especially in the tech industry for women as well, whether it's leadership roles or internship roles or entry-level roles, that pre-pandemic and post-pandemic are not similar times. Things have changed, mindsets have changed, priorities have changed, and processes need to be changed. The same reforms that were used pre-pandemic cannot have the same benefit or impact in the current systems, because, as I said, in whether you're working in a business, whether you're working in a startup, whether you're working in big organizations, then understanding the needs of your employees or your team members and offering benefits that cater to those needs is the most primary thing. It's not about we have these many benefits, but are they actually benefiting, your grassroots level employees? I think understanding that, and especially when it comes to mothers, I guess flexibility, and, having meetings or having, moving around meetings, understanding those processes. I guess that is another thing that, companies can definitely look on. What we are also focusing, through our setup is the ability to have skill share, upskilling, and sponsorships in a way wherein you can lay the ground for the future generations. You can kind of, have women be ready for mentorship, women be approachable for mentorship. And I guess creating on these certain segments, whether it is your benefits, whether it's like simple things like, meeting timings or scheduling around them, the flexibility. I guess it's time that companies also understand that it's okay to humanize, the vulnerability and the storytelling within the companies, because it's not the same mindsets, especially in our community of Meetmumz, where we speak to many mothers who are working in corporate organizations. Reforms have been made, but there is a long way to go.
Nice. Well, yeah, I think what you do is really, really great, Ekta and Camille. Especially, I think for mothers who, like you, have been moving from one country to another. As somebody new to a country, most of the people there, most of the communities have already established their own friendships, their communities through years of just being together. But for somebody new, you're looking for connections that is difficult to find, and you're making it very easy to make these connections, especially with people that are in the same situation as you do. So it's just,
I guess thanks
Thanks.
Thanks to
Exactly.
technology,
Thanks
I mean, you are not anymore
to
limited to
technology.
in person.
Sitting around in a coffee shop
Yeah, yeah.
or in
Oh,
the
that's
park.
amazing. That too
That's
is
also still
amazing. Definitely, human connections has another level of impact that it drives on you. The subtle things that you could not see probably over a Zoom call, but the ability to take your take your impact or your work across borders through people who need it in a pocket through a Zoom call when they need it. I guess that's the beauty of technology.
fantastic. And lastly, with the for women who are considering starting their own businesses like you have, or maybe even just joining the tech industry as mothers, what advice can you offer them, or even just words of encouragement?
I guess I'd tell them something that I wish I heard 4 years ago when I was at a crossroads and trying to work out what I was going to do. Is that it doesn't matter if you don't look the part, just give it a go. And I what I didn't realize is that I actually had the skills that were needed to be an entrepreneur, and that was just magnified by my whole experience as being a mother. And I think there are communities out there, not just ours, and there are a lot of resources out there. And yeah, there's no harm in trying and giving it a go, and you don't need to feel like you're 100% ready. I think a lot of women fall into that trap of, well, I need to have
Everything
the
has to
whole,
be perfect.
yeah, everything has to be perfect. Just try something. Just try something today. Just make one step.
Well, I think that's beautifully said. I don't think I can say anything more. But I think I grew up thinking of. I grew up, listening to two quotes that my parents used to, and especially my dad used to tell me. Two is dream big, and the second is trying is half the battle won. So I guess I would give that advice to them. Apart from what beautifully Camille put up, is there is a space for everyone out there. So just listen to your gut and go for whichever direction you want to do, whatever works for you. There are no set norms, no set definitions that you need to live by. Create your own definitions. Create your own meaning of success. Have your own meaning of life. So I guess that's what I would say to them.
Yeah, I think it's one of the things that we've realized working with a lot of female entrepreneurs is that there's so many unique business ideas out there, and such amazing points of view of the world, and that we're just hoping that more women take this up, and more women really put something out there and create something out of nothing, because the world would be so much richer if we could just have what it is that they've been keeping in their hearts, because we'd be like, we're just waiting for them to come out, and we're just hoping that we can really be a part of their journeys.
And be the entrepreneurs that they are always meant to be.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Now, well, Ekta and Camille, is there anything that you would like to share or talk about that we haven't covered in the podcast that you would like to share with our listeners? Or like you can tell our listeners where they can find you, or how can they best reach you?
Yeah, so as we are developing our systems, we're definitely very active on Instagram at the handle at mother.founder, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and also on meetmumz.com/motherfounder. That's where we host our stories and our blogs, and shining the light on these stories. We will soon are hoping to, soft launch our platform, which builds onto these connections and collaborations. And the scope is wide, but as you said, as Camille as well said, one step at a time.
And if you're in Singapore, we're also around. We have events lined up every month, And we do have weekly calls where we get together and just talk business or how are you and how are the kids kind of conversations. So feel free to join us for one of those.
Fantastic. And we'll also make sure to include all of your social media links in the show notes below of this episode. Well, all right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ekta and Camille, for taking the time to be with us today. Definitely what you do is absolutely amazing. I'm sure a lot of the moms out there would be happy to be a part of your community and inspired by the learnings that are exchanged and the stories that other moms are able to share in your communities. We wish you success and happy Mother's Day. And well, that's a wrap for today's episode of Mangtas Nation. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the conversation and learned something new. And we promise to be back next time with another episode. Once again, Ekta, Camille, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Such a pleasure.
So once again, this is Jackie Demenk.
And Wouter Del Barre.
And stay tuned for the next episode of Mangtas Nation.
Thank you for tuning in to Mangtas Nation. Mangtas, your curated marketplace for B2B outsourcing solutions. Follow our social media pages to know more about us. Sign up as a client or sign up as a vendor and be part of this global B2B marketplace. Join us at www.mangtas.com.